Keir Starmer, I think you're a fucking wanker.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Black Belt Barrister, good channel. All your legal needs, and yeah, can advise you on anything with the law or along them lines. To be honest, got a few channels, but yeah, I like the channel. Black Belt Barrister, 813,000 subscribers. It's probably not a channel that'll be liked either by the global powers because they can kind of tell you how to get out of shit that they're trying to put you in. So, yeah, good channel. I'd recommend it. Subscribe. So, what's happened is, I think I mentioned this in another video. This happened yesterday. The government and Yvette Cooper have basically come out and said the rights of asylum seekers trump the people of Epping or England in a way. That's what it says on the screen, Epping. But it's in essence, the people of Epping is also the people of England. It's how it's kind of being argued from what I've heard is councils' local needs, governments' national needs, and because the government basically trumps the council, um, the asylum seekers' needs trump the British people's needs because the government kind of trumps the council in a roundabout way of explaining it, but not quite accurate. So, yeah, Yvette Cooper, and this'll be absolutely enraging. Here, the people of Epping. I would imagine the people of Epping will be absolutely raging at this decision. But the people of Britain in general, England, Scotland, Wales, you're basically being told that you mean nothing. These asylum seekers are everything. The potential criminals that can rape people and murder people. We don't know who they are. We're spending millions and millions of pounds a day on these people, which ultimately will be taken from us and is being taken from us in the budget and many budgets to come. We were going to be absolutely done in as we pay money hand over fist to put these people in hotels and asylum seekers. So it's bang out of order. This statement that the asylum seekers trump the people of Epping in England is bang out of order, and it's just kind of more fuel to the fire that they want us to kick off. They want us to kick off, but they're not going to stop. They're going to completely destroy this country, and unless we stop them, is the kind of the crack. And it was going to be one hell of a job to do. It's the government, and they own all the police and the military and all the security forces and everything, don't they? So, um, yeah, it's not going to be an easy job, but apparently it's a democracy. So, in the democracy, we should be able to get something done here. But whether we have a democracy, that's another thing. So anyway, let's get on with this. Black Belt Barrister. Yeah.
So the Home Office has genuinely argued at the Court of Appeal that the rights of asylum seekers are more important than the people of Epping, as it desperately tries to overturn this injunction and argue against this case brought by Epping Council with the change of use, or the argued change of use, of the Bell Hotel. So there's a number of things in here, many of which are contradictory or don't make sense, promoted by the Home Office. And I now have had the opportunity to look at the judgment granting the interim injunction. And so I'll look at that in a minute, go through a few paragraphs that I've highlighted with a few thoughts about that, on why I think the Home Office will lose this one. And it could have ramifications across the country. First of all,
right, good. Yeah, I mean, they all have to close. I mean, the government and the Home Office and Yvette Cooper and Starmer and fucking all these corrupt bastards are scrambling here to fucking keep it going. But hopefully, Black Belt Barrister's right here that they'll lose and they all have to shut. And I mean, it's bad because they're going to put them in houses in all our communities. Again, on the last video I did there in Whitehaven, walking, I definitely walked past two migrants near the Asda. There were definitely migrants. There were two foreigners. One was South African, one was Egyptian looking. They weren't speaking the lingo. There's no way that they weren't migrants who'd been put in like a HMO down by the Asda. And that's kind of cheap housing in the Whitehaven area as well. It's terraced cheap housing. So I'll guarantee that they are migrants in HMOs, so that they're getting, I mean, as well, I'm not saying that they've raped this lass in the park where I live, but could it be the case? There's a lot of migrants knocking around here in houses, and people are now getting raped, and they don't know who's raped the last. And these people who I passed live a 5 minute walk from that park. So it's not a definite in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? There's no proof of anything here, but it's just that there's rapes going on up and down the country, and we're getting migrants put in our communities, and it's not rape's not a prevalent thing around here. You know what I mean? It's not a prevalent thing at all. It's not a thing that happens often. There has been rapes and it has been local peoples. It's not unknown, but it's just kind of with everything else that was going on in the country. And they can't find this guy. And we've clearly got migrants living in the area, because I've definitely seen two now. Definitely seen two migrants. So it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder.
Well, if you do like my brutally honest input with the law as to what goes on in the news, please do subscribe to the channel. I am independent. I will remain independent, even though I will lend my assistance to restore Britain, as you may have noticed over on X. I remain independent, and I'm offering my pro bono assistance where I see that it is going to be valued. So thank you for subscribing, if not least for that. Oh, and if you do want my personal views on any of these things, please do check out my Off the Record channel linked below. We are soaring towards 100,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. So let's get into this story here. So as I say, it staggers and beggars belief that the Home Office is arguing that the rights of asylum seekers are more important than the people of Epping. This is not to say that I discount all humanitarian regard for those asylum seekers and so on. But there is a strong argument that the people that live in the area have a right through its council to decide how the buildings are used and how the areas are used in that area. And that is entirely a matter for them. And that is sort of the point that's going to underpin a lot of the argument in this video. Argument which I think the Home Office is going to lose against. Now, as it's summarised here in the Telegraph, I'll link this below. You can form your own views, of course. So they argue here the rights of asylum seekers are more important than those of Epping. It's quite an unbelievable, boldly ridiculous statement, really, because they cannot possibly argue that their rights are more important, because the Home Office...
I mean, it's an outrage. It's an absolute outrage, to be honest. The rights of asylum seekers are more important. Not as is important. More important. Do you know what I mean? If they said as is important, it would have been less controversial. But more important. I mean, it's a kick in the face yet again. It's a slap in the face to the British people from the government. Yet another. It's like the blind woman in Canary Wharf. I mean, the beauty of that is the migrant broke into the house in Canary Wharf. Lasso chased him out with a knife. Lasso gets done for chasing him out with a knife. And then there's a rape in Canary Wharf, which we still haven't heard nothing about who committed. A couple of days later, you couldn't make it up. Do you know what I mean? You literally couldn't make it up. And apparently the asylum seekers' rights are more important than ours. So this is an absolute scandal, to be honest. It's a slap in the face, and I'd imagine the majority of the British people who are listening to this, not particularly me, but this ruling in general, I'll be fucking raging. Absolutely raging with this, you know what I mean?
Office has essentially, to you want of a better phrase, dumped them in Epping, and the council has argued that this is a material change of use. Now, there's a lot of different arguments put forward through this page here on the Telegraph. I'll leave you to read that yourself. But one of them here says, Epping Forest District Council should have considered where destitute asylum seekers could be housed, if not in the Bell Hotel. Now, respectfully, no, they shouldn't. It's not their problem. If the Home Office wants to house them somewhere, it is for the Home Office to decide where to put them. Now, obviously, at the moment, they've decided to put them in hotels around the country, and this could be the tipping point that allows councils to overturn that decision for various hotels around the country, and I suspect it could have a knock-on effect for the rest of the housing for dispersal housing around the country as well. Because there are several points throughout the judgment, which I'm going to come to in just a moment, which underpin that local planning laws is really a matter for the local authority. Now, there's been various arguments as to whether or not the rights of asylum seekers are important and whether or not it's causing local chaos in the area because they're in the hotel and so on, much of which the judge has sort of swept aside, really, and ultimately said, well, it comes down to planning and whether or not there's a material change of use, and then whether or not, spoiler alert, not, the court should get involved in deciding how those buildings should be used. So let's go to a few paragraphs in here so you can actually think of this with some level of authority. I will link it below. It's a lengthy judgment. For the haters and the trolls, I cannot possibly give you everything that is in this judgment here in what will probably an 8 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking a detailed, fucking complicated legal issue, to be honest. That, yeah, the government will try everything it can, but the law's the law, and yeah, well, the law's the law, and the government has to abide by it. So hopefully this will get shut, and then they'll all get shut, and but fuck knows where we'll go from there, because they've got to put these people somewhere. So I'll leave it there on Black Belt Bannister. It's quite in depth and detail, really. If you want to listen to it, go and watch the channel. Subscribe and give them a like. I was kind of more just mentioning the outrage as well of that particular statement. Where's it go? That the people of Epping were less important than the government. Where's it gone? Is that it? There we go. The rights of the asylum seekers. I'm eating a locket, by the way. The rights of the asylum seekers are more important than those of Epping Council, Home Office lawyers have said. So, absolute scandal, to be honest, absolute scandal. We thought that, you know what I mean? Yeah, these people are more important than us because they can just come over here, get put in hotels, have a holiday, rape whoever they want, and yeah, that's just fucking kosher now. That's kosher now in Britain. Unbelievable. I'll leave it there. Peace.